Hello! How is everybody doing today? So, who is joining us? I wanted to hop on here and talk about something that is not comfortable to talk about, but that's what I'll do. Anyways, it wasn't long ago that I was kind of in a similar situation as far as projecting goes. And I just thought maybe some of you may need to hear this same message. So I thought we would talk for just a second about projection. But before we do that, I wanted to let you know that I have a show coming up in Springfield, Illinois, and I haven't been there in forever. So I'm hoping that some of you can join us in Springfield, Illinois. That is July 23rd, and I believe it's at 1 p.m. Yes, at the Crown Plaza. So if you are in the Springfield, Illinois vicinity, come and join us and hang out. All right, so how many of you even know what projection is? I'm reading in the comments. Hi, so many people. Oh, I just love talking to you guys. I could talk to you all day. If I could get paid to talk to you, which actually I could, but I wouldn't do that. Not yet, anyways. If I could get paid to talk to you, I would do it. So projecting is essentially taking negative things about yourself, negative traits, negative thoughts, unwanted emotions, and unconsciously putting them or attributing them to someone else. And oftentimes we do this in relationships. And no, I didn't have this particular thing happen in my my love life, but I have dealt with it in other situations. So I wanted to bring this up to you because I feel like it can really ruin some relationships. I was having a conversation with a family member of mine the other day, and I realized that there was some serious projection going on their part. And so I took that in and I said, you know what? I'm not going to hold you responsible for this right now, because I know that what you're doing is you're uncomfortable with things inside of you, and you're trying to put that on me. And some people call this gaslighting. That can be another term for projecting. So if you've ever heard of, oh, he's a gaslighter, da da da. And a lot of people tend to relate projecting with narcissism. And that's not always the case. In fact, more often than not, I will notice people projecting their negative emotions onto me or onto other people who are not narcissistic at all. They're just very uncomfortable with a situation that they're in, or who they're talking to. So let me give you an example, okay? So your boss and you are working on this project, and you've put in like 30 plus hours, and you're telling your boss that you've put in all these hours, and they are disagreeing with you. They're disagreeing with you because they have been cutting out on the project. They have not put in near as much time as you have, or near as much effort. And so they're uncomfortable about that. And so they're going to question whether or not you're being honest with them about the amount of time that you yourself have put in. A lot of times, I wanted to give you an example that didn't involve husband and wife or two partners right off the bat. But a lot of times we will see this with maybe a cheating partner. They will accuse the other partner of cheating simply because they are cheating, okay? But this happens all the time in way smaller situations that will lead a fight about what kind of bread you're using, to you end up breaking up, or you don't talk to your cousin or your brother ever again because of these stupid little silly issues that people have with projecting their problems and their negativity on other people. And so I think it's super important that you are aware that this can happen if you're not already aware. So if you want, share some of the situations that you've been a part of where you felt like your loved one was projecting on you or you were projecting on them. I'm going to share one with you about myself because I want you to know that nobody is, even somebody who's all about being aware of their energy and the things that they say and karmic effect that you can have on others, we project ourselves. The other day I was having what I call a spiral day. So it was a super negative day. It started out with my babysitter didn't show up, and then I had an issue with my brother, and then all of these negative things kept coming at me, and that's essentially what I call a spiral day. In the land of the law of attraction, you start your day off shitty. It's usually going to continue to get shittier and shittier and shittier. And that's what happened. But I noticed in a conversation that I was having with a loved one that I was taking how another loved one acted and things that they had did and things that they had said, and I was saying that they were the problem. But when I stepped back and looked at it, I realized, oh my God, no, I am the problem. I'm the one that's having a situation here, and I'm using what I remember about this person, the things that they've done to upset me, to validate my feelings, and that is not fair. And that happens all the time in relationships, and I don't just mean girlfriend, boyfriend, husband, wife relationships. I'm talking about any kind of relationship. And I've seen so many friendships end over something like this. And so you don't want to let what you're using, because we do this, we project in self-defense. You're doing this to make yourself comfortable, to make yourself feel better. And 9 times out of 10, it is totally unconscious. I mean, like I said, I'm someone who's constantly aware, or tries to be constantly aware, of the things that I say and the energy that I'm putting off and how I approach things. So if someone like me can project, I can't imagine what other people who aren't consciously aware of the things that they do and the things that they say. So this usually happens completely unconsciously. And then we end up getting ourselves in this freaking mind fuck where we've already said too much and we've done too much, and now our pride gets in the way and we don't want to say we're sorry and that we were actually projecting our own negative thoughts and feelings on somebody else. So just be aware of that. And if you start to because it's easier to find negative qualities in somebody else than it is to find in ourselves, you know? And so if you realize that you're starting to do this, and you can stop yourself by simply asking someone, and this is really uncomfortable, okay, to do, but we're all here to ascend. We're all here to get to a higher power, you know, to bring ourselves to a much higher awareness. And so realizing that we're projectors is one of the easiest ways to start our journey of awareness. So anyways, we do this to make ourselves more comfortable, essentially, because it's easier to notice something negative about somebody else, or notice how somebody else did something wrong in this situation than what you yourself did. So one way that you can reverse this is to recognize it. That's step number 1. And then the second step, in my opinion, would be to sit down and talk with someone that you truly love and trust and are comfortable opening up to. And oddly enough, that's usually not the person that you sleep in bed with every single day. It's not easy to talk to them about, you know, this is my issue, or I did this to you. So get a best friend or your mom or, you know, your dad, somebody, and just talk to them about why you are projecting. Why is it so hard for me to sit and have a conversation with someone and not constantly interrupt them? Well, it's because maybe you want to be heard, or you think that your opinion is undervalued and people aren't paying attention to you. When actually you're just not being patient enough and listening long enough to allow them to get to that point. I have that particular projection issue with a family member of mine that I notice constantly, and it does drive me insane. But yeah, so if you can figure out why you're projecting, then you can figure out how to fix the issue, and that's going to help you mend, conversations from here on out, or future issues, future fights, future disagreements within other relationships. But you have to be able to admit first that you are projecting. And as someone who is in the industry that I'm in, it is so not easy for me to get on here and admit that I make this mistake often, but I feel like if we can bring awareness and wholeness to why we're making these decisions, and why we're acting the way that we're acting at times, then maybe we can heal ourselves one step at a time. Maybe I'm just a hippie. So yeah. So with work, my job is very frustrating and I just can't deal with it anymore. And I was completely complaining. This is from Carrie Walker about it. And my other loved one told me that they could feel the negative energy. So anyways, it's hard. I'm ready to let go and let go of those people and go all together, just to keep them just to keep me out of negativity and stress. Okay. Oh my gosh. Okay. I see where you're going, Carrie. If I could give one piece of advice to every human being on the planet, it would be to find a career that you feel sets your soul on fire and refreshes you. That is the one piece of advice that I would give to every human trying to lead a proactive lifestyle. I feel like what you do doesn't necessarily define you, but it does, because if you are in an environment 40 hours a week, sometimes more, where it's just chock full of negativity or anger, or you feel unappreciated, or you just don't find happiness within what you're doing, get the fuck out. I mean, make yourself a plan. You can't just walk in and quit and not, you have to have responsibilities. You have to be a responsible adult. But if I could tell you how many wonderful ladies that I have as clients that come in here on the daily and tell me, I don't have a purpose. I don't know what my purpose in life is. Start now. Find out what that is now. Because once you find out what your purpose is, it's not going to feel like work. And I can't say that 100%. There are going to be times that it doesn't feel like work. But the times that it does feel like work, it's going to be a hell of a lot easier to do it. But B, your energy and your vibrations are going to explode. They're going to be 10 times higher. It's going to be so much easier. You're going to have a love for life that you've never been able to experience. And up until that point, if you've always had a shitty job, or a job that you don't feel appreciated or you don't enjoy doing, I know that we can't all do that right this second. Okay, this is what I'm going to do. My dream and the thing that sets me on fire is to be a famous designer. Okay, it takes work, but if you're willing to do the work to get to that point, do it for yourself. Why do that for somebody else who doesn't appreciate you? And I'm not saying everybody needs to be self-employed, but I just feel my feelings about doing something that sets your soul on fire and feels right and energizes you. I feel like that is one of the best things that you can do for yourself while you're here on earth, is find that purpose. So I know that you were talking about that job being negative and there's negative energy, and I went like way above that. That's kind of what I do. I'm an extremist, but please find something that enlightens you. And I have times within my career where I am completely depleted. In fact, 9 times out of 10, after the end of the day, uh, my energy is so unbelievably depleted that it's hard for me to function. Um, but that is worth it because I absolutely love what I do and I feel like I'm serving the purpose that I was sent here to serve. So I hope that that gives you some inspiration, Carrie, to get out of where you're at right now and to find a niche, to find something that fulfills your soul. You should feel refreshed when you think about what you do. Not at the end of every day, not at the end of every week, but it should feel refreshing to be able to do what you do. Okay. All right. Um, yeah, there's so many amazing stories on here. So go back through some of these comments and connect with people and um, talk with them, form your own tribe. That's why I do what I do. I will reiterate one more time. I have a show July 23rd in Springfield, Illinois. And yeah, that's my next show. The home show that I just posted for September has sold out. So those usually go pretty damn quick. But there's still plenty of seats in Springfield. So if you're wanting to catch one, do it, do it, do it. All right, guys, I am going to pull one quick card for you, just one, and I'm going to show it to you. If you're watching this live feed, chances are you're supposed to see this, okay? All right. I love it. So this is the Embrace card, and I don't think that we could have picked a better one. This is basically asking you to be whole. Realize that we're all in this together, and that if you're happy and she's happy and she's happy and she's peaceful and she feels like she's fulfilling it and he's happy, we're all working together. And that's essentially what this whole freaking Facebook Live was about, was to empower you and to help you embrace the negative side of who you are so that you can begin to heal it and make everything else better within your life, okay? So embrace your negative side, figure out what's going on, and fucking heal it. All right, you guys have an amazing rest of the week. I hope I get to see some of you guys later this month in Springfield, and I look forward to our next live. I love you.